Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Back to the Future Ultimate Doc Brown from 1985. This is going to be Doc in his white jumpsuit, just from the scene where he sent Marty back in time. I got this figure from Target. I was pleasantly surprised to see a display with all the newest Neca figures. There's an event going on right now, but most of the Target stores don't seem to be participating. So let's check out the packaging. As you see at the top, Back to the Future, 35th Anniversary, Ultimate Doc Brown from 1985 by Neca. The package simulates the crate that he had in that scene. Top, Ultimate Doc Brown in the Hazmat suit. One side, Back to the Future, got the logo there. Ultimate Doc Brown Hazmat suit. Other side, same thing. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Doc, Doc with Marty, Doc with his gun, and a bunch of other Back to the Future figures. This is one of Neca's Ultimate figures. Window box packaging. You can hear the Velcro as I open it. On the inside flap, you can see Doc with his remote control. And then here he is. Alternate arms, a gun, all kind of different accessories. Really cool stuff. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with 2 alternate arms, and those have the gloves for handling the plutonium. He has a combined total of 3 extra hands, totaling 7 interchangeable hands, 3 with gloves on, 4 with gloves off, 2 different heads, a remote control for the DeLorean, a revolver, sort of a clipboard with some calculators, and then a small little notebook. Quite a bit of stuff. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Doc Emmett Brown from Back to the Future 1, played by Christopher Lloyd. This is the version from 1985, and he's in his jumpsuit from the scene where they first showed off the DeLorean. Really cool, memorable scene. Also from the end of the film, when he's shot, gets up, turns out he's alive. So let's take a look at him. Start with the face here. The likeness is good, but something is just a little bit off. Hair looks good. The eyes, this sort of crazy intense expression. The mouth, it does have a Christopher Lloyd look to it. Going further down, you can see sort of the shirt he has underneath the jumpsuit. He's got this sort of stopwatch here. It's 1:18 a.m. He lined that up with his dog, sent him in back to the future, and then 1 minute was discrepancy. Tools on the side here. He's got his watch attached sort of to his fingers here, just like in the film. It all looks pretty cool, pretty authentic. Nice, big, baggy, sort of hazmat type suit. This guy could double up great as a mad scientist or lab technician or just a worker. Hell, even a mechanic. Looks like single jointed knees, single jointed elbows, sort of radiation nuclear logo on the back here. This is a version of Doc I've been waiting for, and I hope they give us more versions. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. From this point of view, with that expression, it really does capture Christopher Lloyd and Doc Brown. I also wanted to take a slightly closer look at his tool belt. There is a lot going on here, a lot of detail. Nothing's removable, but it looks great. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with those swappable arms. So here are his arms and hands. He has a total of 4 hands with no gloves. Then he has a total of 3 hands with gloves. Here are the arms that would handle the plutonium. He's got the hazmat suit all the way down, the nuclear logo there. The other hands here, they've got the sleeves rolled up. You can see this undershirt here. You can see some of his flesh exposed. This one here, you gotta kind of pull this thing off his hand. And I don't really think it's gonna work with the other hand, but we'll check that out shortly. Here he is with his first pair of arms. These have the sleeves rolled up. These have no gloves on the hands. This is how he was in the package. So you can see that thing sort of wraps around his fingers on these hands. And it only makes sense to check out the other hands while I have these arms on. And here he is with his other pair of hands. The first hands were some open hands. These hands are some gripping hands. You can also sort of double up his thumbs up. I tried to sort of put this onto his fingers. It simply just does not work. But if you're going to leave it just dangling there, it looks pretty bad. So I kind of feel like maybe he shouldn't have even come with these hands. I don't know. I mean, he's going to need them to hold his stuff. But that extra piece just looks kind of funky like that. And here he is with his alternate arms. These have the sleeves all the way down. They have the gloves on for handling the plutonium. But let's talk about that for a second. I'm actually really annoyed that he would come with arms like this and not come with at least the crate for the plutonium. He should have come with a crate. Should be able to be opened. And I feel like that was probably their plan. I mean, look at this hand here. It looks like it's supposed to be reaching down and picking it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just a big tease here. The package even looks like the crate. Would have been a fantastic accessory. And he does come with one alternate right hand with the glove on. This one is a gripping hand with a trigger finger. It's going to hold the revolver. Now let's look at his heads. The one on the left is going to be my preferred head. It's got the intense expression. The one on the right has a smiling face. And it definitely loses some of the likeness of Christopher Lloyd. The eyes, the mouth, just looks kind of weird. Here's his first head. This is my preferred head. He has the intense expression and the better likeness. And here's his second head. This one has a smiling expression. Just looks weird. The likeness is definitely weaker on this one. And this head, at least on mine, seems to have some weird little specks on his right cheek. Now let's look at his remote control. Old school looking. It's got two sort of joysticks. The emergency brake here. Detailing is pretty nice. Here he is, holding the remote control. This is what he used when he sent Einstein into the future about 1 minute. Now let's look at his little notebook. It sort of looks like E.T. with a kid on the bike. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. It's got a spiral at the top, page sort of folded back. Here he is, holding that notebook. He's got that intense expression. Then we have this large clipboard type thing. It's a metal clipboard. It's got a piece of paper on it and two sort of calculators at the top there. And just like before, here he is holding this clipboard. Really only works with that gripping right hand. The hand that I think doesn't really make sense on this figure because you got that thing dangling there. Now let's look at his revolver. The handle's white, the rest is silver. Here's Doc pointing that revolver right at you. And I was curious what all shared parts he would have with Marty in the hazmat suit. Now the suits are very similar. Notice they have those orange short triangles at the bottom. But I would say they actually don't share any parts. Marty's legs are quite a bit shorter. The figure as a whole is a lot smaller, as it should be. So, tip my head to Neca for not completely reusing all this stuff. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 7.25 inches tall, which can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation, and it seems to be quite a bit limited. Big bulky suit like this. His head can rotate from side to side. You can look up and down about that far, quite a bit there. Seems to have articulation at the top of the neck as well as the bottom of the neck. Pretty good range of motion, a little too much honestly. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit less than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. Elbow, single jointed, goes in about 90 degrees with rotation. His wrist, rotate, it's going to be hinged as well. See a little better in this hand. Hinged, rotate. Got that thing sort of obstructing it. His torso is one solid piece. Well, not exactly. It has articulation underneath, but it's got this soft goods overlay, and all the articulation under there is useless and pointless. I can just see it go forward and back, rotate, but none of it actually sticks. Legs go out about this far. Ball joints, they can rotate independently of the ball. Here you go forward, not too much about that far. Back, not very much. Single jointed knee, about 90-degree bend with rotation. Then his ankle here, forward and back, rotate, and tilt, rock. Here's Marty and Doc. Marty has his video camera out. He's going to video this historic event that he has no idea what's coming. The DeLorean comes racing right toward them. As soon as it hits 88 miles an hour, it disappears and turns into flames. And those flames go right between each of their legs. Marty's in shock. Doc is happy, very pleased that everything worked. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Neca Back to the Future figures. Here's the 1985 Doc on the left, next to the 1955 version on the right. The 55 version is probably my favorite, as he's a nice all-purpose figure, regular clothing. I do feel like they need to give us another 1955 one with that giant thing on his head. And here's the 1985 version of Doc on the left, next to the 2015 version on the right. Here are all three of the Doc Brown figures they've made: 1955, 1985, and then 2015. Now they could make another variation of each of these time periods of Doc, not to mention the 1885 version, which I still expect to come out. Here's this version of Doc in the hazmat suit, next to Marty in the hazmat suit. These figures go pretty good together, both handling the radioactive plutonium. And here, next to the standard version of Marty McFly, this is the version in the outfit we're all familiar with. And then, here's Doc next to all versions of Marty McFly. There are 4 of them. The first 3 are all in outfits that started off in 1985, and the last one is from 2015. And one could even argue that might be Marty McFly's son, not actual Marty. I really hope they give us the spy version of Marty McFly for Back to the Future 2, and him in the Western outfit, both versions from Part 3. Here's Doc with both the versions of Biff. The one on the left is from 1955, the one on the right from 2015, and the one on the right is actually Griff, which I believe was Biff's grandson. Here are all the 1955 Back to the Future figures, Biff and Doc. And here are all the 1985 figures in line, 3 Marty, 1 Doc. Here are all the 2015 Back to the Future figures, Marty, Doc, and Griff. Really hoping we can add some 1885 figures to the mix. Here's NECA's entire Back to the Future collection. We've got a total of 9 figures. Now they said they're doing an accessory pack with Einstein, and I'm pretty confident that's going to come out, but we really haven't seen any other figures announced in a while. I fully expect to get Marty, Doc, and Biff from 1885, and I kind of feel like that's where the line's going to end. Maybe we won't even get those. I would love a couple more versions of Marty, a couple more versions of Doc. I'd love Jennifer, Clara, Marty's father, but I know for a fact his father's completely off the table. They couldn't settle with the actor on his likeness rights. He's pretty picky about those sort of things. Of course, we all hope eventually we'll get an in-scale DeLorean with functioning doors and you can put the figures inside there. I assume NECA was just sort of waiting to see how the line was received and how it sold. And I kind of feel like maybe it didn't do as well as they were hoping. So I don't really expect to ever get a DeLorean, and that really does suck. That's a perfect compliment to at least Marty and Doc. I can only imagine a DeLorean from the first film, and maybe with removable parts for the second film with the tires and the sort of trash chute at the top, and then another one for the third film. I'd love to have that wire from the first film you could attach to the top. There's a lot of possibilities. It would be probably expensive. NECA is doing the turtle van, so they do some big vehicles. Fingers crossed. Here's Doc in the hazmat suit, next to a couple of Mezco Breaking Bad figures in white hazmat suits. They look pretty decent next to Doc, although a little too small. They not only come in white colors, but also yellow hazmat suits and orange hazmat suits. There's also a teal version. I don't have that pair, but I probably should track them down at one point. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a Neca figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his Neca brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from Neca Toys, all 7-inch scale, all from different various movie properties. Then, with some more Neca figures, these are all some different various superheroes. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some McFarlane toys. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Portnet figures. Overall, he's a pretty nice figure. His accessories are plentiful, and they're awesome. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. Articulation is quite limited, could be a little better. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. If it came with the plutonium canister, especially if it open, he would have easily been an 8. It's just a huge missed opportunity. Would have been nice if he also came with Einstein, because it's very appropriate for this scene. But I realize they have other plans on releasing Einstein. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.